Hello, I'm Jack, and right now I want to talk about religion. And just from the conversations I've been having lately about religion and mainly Christianity, um, every time I get to a certain point with religion, when I ask them, are they religious? And they ask me, am I religious? And then they say, yes, I'm Christian. And then I say, I'm none, none of the above. It definitely changes the energy of the conversation and the relationship after that. So they don't even know what to say when I say I don't play for a team. I don't play for a certain team. I like certain things about Christians or Christianity, and I also like things about Buddhism, um, atheism, um, even science. Academia. That's a religion. So I like certain aspects about all those religions, but I can't say that I play for one team just because um, I have to neglect those other philosophies. So really, I just make my own religion of Jack. But the question is, why do people get offended when I start talking about Christianity as not being the religion? Why do Christians especially get offended? And so I had to put myself in the place of being offended um, when talking about a practice, because that's how I'm going to look at um, religion. Christians look at Christianity as a practice. So you go to church and you go do your drills, saying your prayers, and you try to improve on those drills and be a better person. And same thing with any other practice. I mean, just looking at athletics. So my religion, my latest religion, was probably about 5 or 6 years ago. I was really heavy into it, and it was a religion that I practiced regularly, and it was called racquetball. And so I was so into it, and I did my drills and I practiced. I went into church, which would be the racquetball court, and I prayed to God, which would be the ball, and I tried to be with that ball, no matter who I was playing, and be present with the ball, because the ball is the only thing that mattered, because that's what determined if I won or lost. So so basically, when that was my practice, that was my religion. So when someone would talk about it, when they asked me, "What do you do with yourself?" and I said I play racquetball, and then they would say, "Oh, is that even a sport?" And then I would just get so offended in that moment. And I'm like, how can that not be a sport? I have a racket, I have a ball, I have rules, and I'm trying to accomplish something. How is that any different from tennis, which they easily see as being a sport? Because tennis has a racket, a ball, rules, and they're trying to accomplish something. So, so my feeling was, how can you be so ignorant, saying that, um, or not seeing how racquetball is a sport, or as a practice? But then I started realizing after a while, that they just didn't understand it. I mean, they weren't. It wasn't a common thing for where I lived. People knew about it, but they just thought it was something you just messed around with. I mean, it wasn't. Especially when I said that I played in competition, or competitions. Some of them started laughing. Some people started laughing at me, and that was like, that really offended me, because I put my heart into it, just as, let's say, a Christian puts their heart into their practice, their religion, um, Christianity. So basically, that's what I'm realizing, is that religion is a practice. It's an art form, but when we put our hearts into it, it really, we attach ourselves to it. And so then, of course, if someone says that's not a good art form, then of course, just like how I got offended, they'll feel the same way, and they'll get offended. So it'd be nice to respect each other's art forms, each other's religion, whether it be Christianity or racquetball or any other sport, or science, art form, music, painting. Those are all religions. There are religions and cultures for painting. There are people that gather and they try to do the same thing as Christians do when they gather in their church. I mean, just as I would gather in my church, which was the racquetball court. That was the church I went to on a regular basis to learn how this thing works, how this religion works, and so I paid attention. The ball is the only thing that mattered because that's what determined if I won or lost, and so that would be the God. So the racquetball is the God, and so I would work my way around the racquetball court and just learn that practice just as a painter would, painting in the canvas, and just as a scientist would in biology, looking at cells, and just as a Christian would going into church and looking at Jesus. So there's a sort of respect that we need to see in order to have, let's say, a more peaceful, more understanding conversation with, let's say, religion. That's because that's a big one. I mean, people can get over racquetball much easier than Christianity. Just look at how popular Christianity is in our world, and how long um, it's been in the scene or in society. So, of course, that is a bigger realm that may take a little bit more energy to try and have that type of awareness. That, yes, I mean, if we're going to talk about religion that way, we need to respect it just as we would respect racquetball as being a sport. So is Christianity the religion? Now that's where it gets offensive. Just as racquetball, when I was playing racquetball, I said racquetball was the sport. And I truly believe that, because obviously my ego said everything about this is right, and those other sports, they aren't complete, so don't even mess with them. Don't even mess with basketball. Don't mess with tennis. Maybe tennis because it's close to racquetball. Just as Christians have like Methodists, Catholics, there are many branches of Christianity. So same thing with racket sports. You can have branches of them. Tennis, badminton, squash, racquetball. But then you get in the realm of athletics, where you have basketball, you have soccer, you have football, baseball, and whatever else, curling. And so if we want to be respectful for all sports, we have to see all sports as being a righteous practice. Just as Christianity. We need to do the same with Christianity. It is a practice. It may not be the practice, and this may offend Christians, but I'm sorry. But also, there is that realization that there are other religions out there that feel differently, that play differently, just as other sports do. So there is that whole realization that we have to get over, which is, it's not, for me, this is my personal opinion, it's not the religion, it's a religion, and it's what do you do in that religion. But like I said, we need to respect those religions and what people choose to practice and spend their attention on. Because just as I hoped people would have done with me, or done that with me in racquetball, let's do the same with people practicing Christianity or Buddhism, or New Age, any other religion that you want to look at. academia, like I said, that's a religion. Um, Government or politics is a religion. There are many religions out there, or practices. There's really no end to it if you want to get heavy with it. So everyone's practicing a religion. So let's try and be a little bit more respectful when someone says, "I do this with my time and my attention." So yeah, that was just hitting me. Like I said, I was having more of these conversations, and as I was talking about religion or Christianity, because where I live right now, Christianity is the thing, just as soccer is in England or Europe. You know, that's a whole religion over there, and people can get really offended if you start saying even just the slightest thing against soccer. So it's the same deal, but I tried to do it from a respectful place. But I can still see that people are still getting, like, you know, offended that I don't see, or that I don't choose to play that sport the same way, or that practice the same way. So, but they're, like I said, just because I don't want to practice it the way they do and see it the way they do, doesn't mean I can't respect it and respect them. So so it's just about that respect. That's really what I wanted to show in this topic of religion. Um, yeah, respect differences. So thank you. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.